you? All right. Oh, we live. We late, but we here. Oh, we live. All righty then. Well, let's get it. All righty, everybody. Minister Brother Derrick here. I just want to do this real quick. It's 4:39, so let's go ahead and get it. Let's just go ahead and get this. I'm going to drop it for you. Stop, look, and listen. Please stop resisting. It's a new day. Let's try a new way. Jesus put a day with no pain, no stress. You gave me the way, and now I'm blessed. You can test me, let the devil stress me. But baby, hell is one place I don't want to see. So stop, look, and listen. Please stop resisting. It's a new day. Let's try a new way. Are you ready, or are you sitting heavy? Stop, look, and listen. Please stop resisting. It's a new day. Let's try a new way. Minister Brother Derrick. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Peace, everyone. All righty. Hold on 1 second here. I was like, you're going to what God hates. Why shouldn't God love you? Anybody want to come hash out this topic with me today? Come over here and talk to the minister. I'll listen. Come tell me why you think God loves you. Where's everybody at? You don't have to be from this sector. Alrighty, y'all. Alrighty. Welcome to the show. It's Sunday. You know, I wasn't even gonna come on today because I had planned on going to the store today. And guess what? It's snowing. I had the bike all prepped up, everything charged up. I'm getting ready to go out the door. I look out the window and it's snowing. I said, oh, Lord, we're not going to go out here. So now I got to hope that the sun come out tomorrow, but I checked the weather. It's going to keep doing this all the way to tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to have to get out there in the snow. And I don't know if I'm taking the mobility scooter or the bike. I don't know, but I'll figure that out tomorrow. But I'm not happy about it. But anyway, how is y'all Sunday going? The wrestling pay-per-view was on tonight. I'm going to go watch it on my site where I can watch it in 1080p in clarity. So, giving them a chance to go ahead and put it up, I thought I'd come hang out with y'all. And I thought that I would bring an issue to give y'all something to think about, because I'm looking around these YouTube streets. A lot of y'all not thinking. When I'm looking at what y'all talking about, y'all not thinking. So I thought I would come ask a question. And the question is simple. If you love to sin, and you know that God can't stand sin, and you choose to sin over God, what makes you think you're going to heaven, and what idiot is telling you that you is? So to the idiots that's telling you that, where you at? Come on over here. You can call in here, 443-461-4518. Who want to call in and debate? Come justify your actions. Tell me how you going to stand before Jesus Christ on Judgment Day. You're going to stand before him When you spend your whole life doing what him and God hate, explain how you gonna convince him to not throw you in that lake of fire. I'll listen. Anybody want to call in? I challenge anybody. Come on in here. Come on in and get this work. I don't care what religion you are. Catholic, Muslim, whatever. Bring it. Evangelical, Protestant. Bring it. Come explain to us. Because I think, y'all think Jesus and God are suckers. That's what I think. Because that's how you treat them. You treat Jesus and God like you treat your dog. You only want your dog to come around when you want attention from him. Any other time, yeah. That's how you treat Jesus and God. But you respect them. You think they simple like the dog, because the dog is going to go away, and when you call him, he'll come back. But you expect Jesus and God to do that. Anybody want to call in? Like I said, I will listen. We'll sit here and listen. 443-461-4518. Anybody got the cojones? Anybody got the nads to call in here and talk about a real issue? Y'all want to talk about that dumb stuff? Come talk about a real issue. Let's hear your opinions. Come try to justify how you can do whatever you want to do. And you think that Jesus and God is going to just sit there and go, okay, whatever. Go ahead, do you? If we made to worship him, you spend your whole life worshiping yourself. What are you going to do when you get up there? Anybody want to call in? Let me go let some people know we live. So let me play a song here for a second. Let people know we live. Welcome to the Minister Brother Derrick Show, and I am Minister Brother Derrick. I just want to say that I love Jesus, and that's the title of this song. I love you, Jesus. We'll follow you wherever you lead us. I love you, Jesus. Don't let the devil deceive us. Can't get enough. I love my Jesus. But people say to keep it real. But here's the deal. If you're not saved, you're missing out.
I love you,
if you're not born again, your future is in doubt. Your body wasn't made to last. When your time comes, it will be reduced to ash. Your flesh will rot, but your light will not. Your soul will go on forever, so you better realize that you need God, or you will be surprised by the pain of a flame that never goes out. The pits of hell, where the heat swells up, there's no relief, not for a moment of peace. The agony and cries never cease. There's someone in the background singing, burn, baby, burn. This isn't normal. Burn, baby, burn. I'm a walking and burn. No. But seriously, though, this will happen if Jesus come back and finds you napping. See, no one knows the time of day. But if you follow the word, it won't matter anyway. Because in heaven, no one will ever be sick or shed a tear. So in this realm, I show no fear. What you gonna do? Kill me? Make me a martyr? Give me a head start? Put me on the fast track? So keep macking. Keep stacking. Keep on shacking up. But get caught napping and the jig is up. And I just want to say, I love you, Jesus. Follow you wherever you lead us. I love you, Jesus. Don't let that devil deceive us. I love you, Jesus. If you think that witnessing to your neighbors is weird, think of foreign countries with statues of idols are revered. Nations of people who don't know God, only mythical characters like a Palo, Bell, or Zara.
I love you,
Most
Jesus.
Americans believe in one Lord, one superior being. Christians should be promoted by the millions, but we spend our time fulfilling the desires of our flesh. We won't give Jesus our best effort, but we ask for blessings that we don't deserve. And you wonder why our prayers are not heard. In church, you put down those you really admire. You know you have a desire to make that easy money. Drive the fancy car. You feel like love when you enter the bars or clubs. Deep down, your spirit isn't for God or His ways. So why should anybody listen to a darn thing you say? I love you, Jesus. Follow you wherever you lead us. I love you, Jesus. Don't let the devil deceive us. I love you, Jesus. We'll follow you wherever you lead us. Let the Holy Spirit lead us. I love you, Jesus. And one more time. I love you, Jesus. All right, y'all, let's get it. Let's get to the Bible study. The minister, Brother Derrick Show. Let's get it. Well, let's get it. All right. I'll let some more people know that we live. I want to know where they at. Where are all these people that claim they so big and bad? Where you at? Because I know those of you on the East Coast, we snowed in. So where you at? Why don't you venture on over here? Come on over here. Let's hear from Minister Jack. Where you at? Where you at? Ralph Coke Bottles? Where you at? Where you at, Super Jim? Where you at? Where you at, ZX? Come on over here and debate this issue. Where you at? Where you at, Victor Bone? You supposed to be Team Jesus. Where you at? Who chat you yelling in right now? Where you at, sir? You know, somebody called me yesterday, and I quickly hung up on them. Somebody called me after yesterday's show and told me that they was True Freeman. And then proceeded to call me 9 more times. I got so many voicemails, it's ridiculous. I just went on and blocked that chump out there hangout. You know, you can block unknown numbers. I figured out how to do it. You can block them. This person kept saying the same thing over and over again. Look at him. He broke. Look at him. He broke. That's the only thing that you can say? Out of all the information that I bring. The only thing that you can say is that I'm broke? And you wonder, why would I want to even give you the time of day? That's all you can say? Pick on something that I teach the people that's wrong. Then I'll listen to you. Right now, you talking a bunch of huffing and puffing. If all you can talk about somebody's finances, that's all you can do. Because I noticed a lot of you in this sector, that's all you do. You go dox people. You did this 20 years ago. Your mom used to be a stripper. Your dad was a pimp. Look at your cousin. Your cousin was a hustle boy. That's all you can do. That's your content. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is, who are the idiots that sit there and listen to you? Who gets excited? You know who get excited? A bunch of sinners that want to jump on somebody else's sin as long as you don't call them out for their sin. That's who watching. And that's why it's only 7 people here. When you come over here, that stuff don't work. You have to stand on your own. You can't hide in the chat and just dump on somebody else. When you come over here, we call you out. What are you doing? Don't tell me what the man down the street doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? What you got going on? You call me broke. That's all you can do. But I've been telling y'all I wanted to get an apartment so I could have a full-size studio. I've been telling y'all I've been wanting to have co-hosts. It's one thing stopping that from happening. The chair that we ordered, the seller was a scammer. We got our money back, and our chair will be here Wednesday. So sometime next week, whenever I can get a hold of the guy, I'm going to have a co-host. I've done what I said I was going to do, broke or not. So we're going to have 2 chairs here. I'm going to be able to have a co-host. We're going to make it happen. So while other people are sitting there, you see not only faith from Minister Brother Derrick, you see works. But what are these other people doing? What are they doing? Are they upgrading their stuff constantly? No, they're not. They're using StreamYards. We can go use StreamYards. It's babyish. You want us to go switch to StreamYards? We can go switch to StreamYards. Not a big deal. To me, it's babyish. Do you want us to go lower ourselves and use StreamYards? We can do it. People pay $30 a month to run that StreamYard. Why? So they can have 9 or 10 people on the panel, but they got no content. So they need other people to be the content. They need other people to come on there and keep you entertained. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to wake you up. I'm here to warn you. So I don't need 9 or 10 people to do that. We got real content here. And today we're asking the question, if you know that God can't stand sin and you love sin, how can you say you a child of God when you know that God can't stand sin? Explain. Anybody. Anybody from any religion. Where you at, Sonetta? Where's your people at? Where's Brother for like and Young Scarecrow? Where they at? Where is Jabari Hart? Where's your roster? Where the Black Israelites at? Where you at? Somebody come over here. Come school us. We like to learn here. Somebody come school us. Somebody come explain to us how. How can we expect to go to paradise when we enjoy the things that Jesus and God can't stand? How can we say that we their children when we do everything they can't stand? Somebody please come explain. Not one person got the cojones to come over here and say something. Not one. But y'all want to talk about how big and bad she is. You like to threaten people. But where you at? Come on over here. I'm calling you out. Ain't nobody gonna block you. Come on over here and say what you gotta say. But make sure it's intelligent. Come on now, listen. Where are all these supposed YouTube ministries? Where you at? Where you at, Creflo Dollar? Where you at? Where you at, Joel? Where you at? Where's the guy that calls himself pastor and sit there and cuss everybody out? Where you at? Come on over here and tell me. I'll listen. Come on over here. Tell me how you can engage in sin. Tell me how you can tell your people to keep doing what they're doing. That God going to accept them anyway. When the Bible says that God can't stand evildoers. He tells you how the Bible tells you how he's going to get rid of them. That they're not coming up. Explain. Anybody. Anybody got the cojones to come over here? Phone number is 443-461-4518. I challenge anybody in any sector of YouTube. And you know what? We just froze for a second, and there is no reason for us to freeze. So we lowered the resolution, and we still froze. We lowered our resolution, and we still froze. We lowered it by half. That's crazy. Now, we didn't drop any frames, but we lowered our resolution by half. I'm not sending YouTube 2560. I'm only sending them 1280. That's half. And yet we still lost power. It was only for a second, but we still lost power. How is that possible? Crazy. But like I said, where's everybody at? We got a good topic here. Nice controversial topic. And nobody got nothing to say. Where's everybody? Where you at, Tony? Telly? Where's everybody at? Nobody got no comment. Let's get to our first article. Because luckily we don't depend on people for content. I downloaded these, bookmarked them a few minutes ago. Computer going slow. Why? Does God hate sinners? This should be interesting. Let me blow it up some. People got all that mouth. When you call them out, they ain't got nothing to say. I knew that Sunday when I preached a sermon on hell, that's when I included the point of God's hatred of not only wickedness, but the wicked. That it would at the very least raise some eyebrows. The intentions of keeping such a statement in that particular sermon on hell was to help us understand our need for the fear of God and an understanding of his just wrath. These doctrines we have to recover if we are to be effective in mission, swift on our feet and urgent with the gospel. We can only understand hatred from a sinful and broken perspective. We know when we hate something that it is tainted with sin. When we hear that God hates something, we are shocked by it. And yet, that's what the Bible clearly says. The word used for hate in the 5th Psalm means to have an aversion, unwilling, or unable to put up with, to dislike intensely. Let's stop right here. Why are we shocked to hear that God hates something? Because these ministers, these preachers, these priests, these rabbis, they all tell you that God is love and that God loves all. God does not love sin. So why are you shocked when you hear that phrase? It's all through the Bible, Old and New Testament. God hates sin. He sent his son down here to take the place of our sin. But you have to be walking with Jesus for him to wash away your sin, the sins that you do every day. Because see, people say, well, he did it once and for all. How many times have you sinned today? How many times did you sin yesterday? How many times did you sin 4 days ago? How many times did you sin last week, last month, last year? You need to repent to Jesus so he can wash away those sins. If not, they pile up. Your preacher ain't told you that. No, they don't want to tell you that because you don't want to hear that. That'll make you stop in your tracks. Some of y'all are sinning right now as you listen to this. Some of y'all are sinning right now. But you want somebody to tell you, hey, don't worry about it. You're going to be all right. That's what you want to hear. And they learn if they want to make money and get your approval, these preachers preach, they got to tell you what you want to hear. And that's not the intention of the clergy. The clergy is to educate you and keep you on point. You know, Evelyn thing in the Wiz, don't bring me no bad news. Why is that bad news to tell you to stop doing what you're doing wrong? Anybody want to answer that? Why is that bad news for somebody to tell you to stop doing what you're doing wrong? Because see, if you correcting your kids in public and somebody say, hey, don't hit your kids, you ready to beat them up? You ain't gonna tell me what to do with my kids. Well, hitting them might not be the best solution. But you won't focus on that. You'll focus on, you don't have the right to tell me what I'm doing with my kids. That's what your focus will be. Your focus won't be the fact that you putting your hands, you a full-grown adult, is putting your hands on a little kid. But you want to acknowledge that. You'll acknowledge the fact that you don't have the right to tell me what to do. You don't have the right to correct me. Well, that's where you're wrong. Are we not our brother's keeper? It takes a village to raise a child. What does that mean? It means that we're responsible for each other. And when we see somebody doing something wrong, we have an obligation to correct them. Now, whether or not you accept the correction is one thing, but to respond with nasty curse words or to respond with threats of violence, the same violence that you were just putting on your kids, except the difference is it's an adult. And see, an adult can hit you back, something the kid can't do. Can I say that again? The adult can hit you back. And 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. The adult going to beat the crap out of you. They tried to correct you, and you didn't want to hear it. And you didn't want to hear it should be the end of it. But no, you want to get up and turn the violence that you had on that child. Now you want to put it onto the adult. The adult might not take it. The adult might knock you on your butt and put you in your place. Yes, we are each other's keeper. And the fact that we don't correct each other is why the world is the way it is. Because if the good people started correcting those who are acting evil, they're going to have to straighten up or leave. Because for every evil person, it's 10 good people. When the good people come together, evil ain't got nowhere to go but to leave. You can say, oh, I'm not going outside because the gang's out there. Who's in them gangs? Your children. You scared of your children? You was beating them when they was little, but you won't beat them when they're in the dark. I'm just using your logic. You don't have no problem putting your hands on a little child. But when they get big, all of a sudden you scared of them. How you scared of your own children? Anybody want to explain that? How you scared of your own children? I'm trying to imagine if I had a child and he came home with some gang paraphernalia on, I'd tell him he got to take that stuff off. You ain't coming in the house with that on. You're not coming in my house with that stuff on. You better leave it at the door. You're not bringing it in here. And if he go back the next day and tell the gang members that I wouldn't let him in the house, then it's my job to go find out who the parents of these kids. And go get the parents. So that when they do come for the revenge, we'll be standing there. So you're going to beat up your mom and dad? Because if that's what it is, then the war is on. You 14, 15, and 16, you ain't got a driver's license. How you going to fight a real war? Most of the stuff you have, either us parents gave it to you or you stole it. So while you trying to steal a gun, we can just go buy one. Now see if the parents stood up. And everyone said, you're not coming in my house with that gang crap on. Then where they going to live at? Who going to feed them? How they going to get gas and electricity wherever they do go? Can't nobody do business with anybody under the age of 18. But yet, you got these kids running around ruling you. Would anybody like to come explain that? If you have a child that's in a gang and you let him or her come in the house with their gang paraphernalia, you let them have gang meetings in your living room, you are enabling it. But you have the power to stop it. And that power is not just in you. You reach out to the parents of these kids that's in that gang. And you do what they doing. They forming a solid, united front. You parents form a solid, united front. And you tell them, if we go through your room and we find drugs in there, we gonna call the police and get you locked up. We see you assaulting somebody, we not gonna turn our heads. We gonna have you locked up. We rather you be locked up in the jail where we know where he is than out there doing all that stuff. See, that's what a real parent would do. But I say, well, I'm not snitching. I'm not. And you gonna sit there and let them. When good people do nothing, that's when evil rules. Why is it that when somebody robs somebody, why they run? Why is it when somebody shoots somebody, why do they run? Why is it that when they bank somebody, why is it that they run? They run because they know if they don't get out of Dodge, good people will come and stop them. That's why they run. But today, people pull out the phones and shout World Star. But yet they still run. People just walk by. See them banking somebody, they walk by. But yet they still run. Why do they run? They run because they know they're doing something wrong. And they have enough sense to know that when you're doing something wrong, people that's doing right are going to get involved eventually. In a perfect world, every time you see one of them, a good person should grab them by the back of their neck and slam their face into a wall and take that crap off your damn body. Get that crap off you. In the real world, perfect world, that's what should happen. Every time you see somebody, you should grab them by the back of their neck and slam their face into something and yank that crap off of them. That's what they do to each other. If you got the red on, somebody with the blue. You got the black and gold on, somebody with the red gonna catch you up and make you take your stuff off. Why don't we do it? It's only 30 of them in a gang, but in the neighborhood, it's like 10,000 people. But you let 30 people scare 10,000 people. How does that work? You have to be compliant. You have to be passive in order for evil to succeed. People think that they can sit in the safety of the church and think that they can run the neighborhood. No, the neighborhood is being run while you sitting in the church. The neighborhood is being run over while you sitting in your house with the high security gates and you got the security camera and you got the alarm system on. While you trying to hide from evil, evil is taking over your life. You're not doing what you are meant to do. God put us here to rule. His Christians should be ruling the world, not hiding out from the world. Would anybody like to say something about what I just said? I will listen. Anybody? Anybody want to comment on what I just said? Anybody? I'm listening. We're waiting. Anybody want to comment on what I just said? Come shut me down. I'm listening. I'm listening. Do 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 do. I don't see no movement in the chat. Who's gonna come in here? If we say something, they're gonna get us. So it's 10,000 of y'all, and y'all can't unite. But those 30 can unite and rule the thousands of you. That makes sense? Anybody? That makes sense? I'm listening. I'm listening. Oh, we just lost somebody. Coward. In other words, God in his perfect righteousness and holiness is unable and unwilling to put up with the evil and the evildoer. What does that mean for our attitude toward those who hate God? What does that mean concerning God's disposition toward us when we sin? First, you have to ask, what biblical category am I in? The Bible speaks of two categories of people, the righteous and the wicked. Read Psalm 1 for a clear depiction of the two categories. You can also read Matthew 25 to hear Jesus' words concerning the wicked and the righteous. There are no in-between people. We are either wicked or we are righteous. The Bible also speaks of these two types of people as either under the covenant God has made with his people or outside of the covenant God has made with his people. You guessed it. Those under the covenant are those who are viewed as righteous and loved by God. Those outside of the covenant are those viewed as wicked and hated by God. We are either a sheep or a goat. We are either righteous or wicked. We are either loved or hated. The covenant was made by God after sin entered the world. He promised he would redeem the world and offer salvation. The entire Old Testament concerns the preparation of the fulfillment of that covenant. At its core, the covenant is this: I will be your God and you will be my people. I will dwell with you and you will dwell with me. Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of that covenant. That's why he said at the Last Supper, this cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for many. How does someone enter into the covenant God has made with his people? There is only one way, and that is through faith in Jesus Christ as the author and perfecter of our faith. When we come to faith in Jesus, we are united to the person of Christ and his work. Everything that Jesus did and accomplished is on our behalf. When God sees us, he no longer sees our wickedness, because our sins have been paid for and cleared by the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. In other words, justice has been served on our behalf. Through Christ, God is perfectly just and loving people who once hated him and sinned against him. For those under the covenant through faith in Christ, there is never a time you can make God love you more, and there is never a time that you can make God love you less. God will never hate on you again. Even when you sin and God is grieved, he doesn't fall out of love with us. He disciplines us and calls us back into fellowship with him. You can never lose the salvation that has been graciously given to you. It wasn't given to you because of good works, and it can't be taken from you because of sinful works. What about those people outside of the covenant God will not put up with and is unable to put up with their rebellion? God graciously calls those outside of the covenant to leave their rebellion and to enjoy the blessings of his love inside of the covenant. Romans 5 tells us that God demonstrated his own love for us in this, that while we were still God haters, Christ died for us. In other words, even though God hates the wicked and the wickedness they commit, he still gave his son to call his enemies to be his sons. This is the scandalous grace at the center of the gospel. If God hates the sinner and the sin, how does that affect our mission? Are we to hate the sinner as well? The simple answer is no. Jesus tells us to love our enemies. This is the same word that Paul uses in Romans 5 to tell us how God demonstrated his love by offering his son for his enemies. We are not called to judge those outside of the covenant. That is why the scriptures tell us that vengeance belongs to the Lord. Our mission is to love our enemies by telling them of the great news of the gospel and act in such a way that it makes the love of Christ evident in our lives. The Christian church has a problem. We mistake sayings that fit on coffee mugs for true theology. There is truth in the saying, love the sinner and hate the sin, but it's not robust enough to encompass a conversation concerning God's aversion to sin and his holy wrath. The saying has its most modern use in a statement from Gandhi rather than any Christian source. Augustine instructed the church to love mankind and revile sin. It is a thoroughly Christian concept to love people and hate evil, but that statement becomes more complex when we speak about the attributes of God. I would also suggest that we stop using that particular statement, as those we intend to encourage with it actually hate the saying. The reason they hate it is because today's culture easily identifies their personhood with that sin. In other words, to tell a person today that you hate that sin is equivalent to telling them that you hate them. It's not a hateful statement in most Western conversations about sin. We need something deeper and a more compassionate way to love and serve those who are on the outside looking in. There's obviously much more to discuss concerning God's hatred of evil and evildoers. But for now, the biggest question you must answer is whether or not you have come to true faith in Christ and are under the covenant. These passages were included in the original scriptures to lead us to the holiness of God and our total dependence on his grace. There is no need to be ashamed of these passages or try to explain them away. Rather, let them be passages to lead us to worship God more fervently for the deep grace he has given us in Christ. You are no longer enemies, but sons and daughters of the living God. Let us be motivated to grow in the family even bigger so that many can experience the love of God that we have in Christ Jesus. Anybody have any comments? I don't disagree with the person said in that article, but he don't go far enough. This is where I get into an issue because people keep saying have faith in Jesus Christ, but they don't tell you what faith means. Faith isn't just, hey, I love you, Jesus, hey. No. You have to demonstrate it. It's faith plus actions. Your actions should say what your mouth say. If you are a child of God and you claim that Jesus Christ is your Savior, then everything you do should be about advancing the knowledge of Jesus Christ to everyone. People should be able to look at you and know that you are a child of Christ. And if you are sinning, you are not showing that you are a follower of Christ. You're doing the opposite. If you still sin on purpose, and this is where we have to get the little things caught up here that most ministers won't tell you. You have to not want to sin. You have to sin by accident. You got caught up in the moment. And then you come to Jesus and you ask him to please erase that sin. And you try not to do it again. But if you sin and then say, yeah, Jesus, forgive my sin, and you readily go do it again, and you readily go do it again, and you readily go do it again, and you regularly go do it again, you are not in the family of Christ. You are not. That's what they won't tell you. You can't keep doing what you want to do when you know that they hate it. If you do it by accident or you get caught up in the moment, if somebody come over here and start nagging us in the chat and Brodero come out, I have to go atone for what Brodero says. I have to go atone for that. But when it's over, if I don't go back to what I was doing and I continue to let Brodero go off, I'm not exhibiting the behavior that Jesus would. Because Jesus went off on some people, but then he came back and realized, hey, this is not the kind of behavior that I want to show people. Do y'all understand? It's more to this than just showing up at church. It's more to this than just putting on some nice clothes. It's more to this than just making sure you got a nice hat. Because that's what most of you do. You make yourself look good and you go in there and you sit and you're trying to look holy and innocent. And while you're sitting there, you wondering what kind of dirt you can get into. I know because I've been there. I've been sitting next to some of you. I heard you talk on your cell phone. I watch your text. I watch the people that you came with and you whispering to them, yeah, we're going to go out and get into this as soon as we get out of here. You see church as something you got to do. You don't look forward to it. You hate it. Come on, man. It's 1:30, the game on. God darn it. It's a good game on today, man. Come on. How long you going to preach? You sitting there like you being held hostage. And you think that you're going to get through them pearly gates. You really think so? So I called everybody out and won't nobody come check. One last call. I'll ask for the final time before we move on. Anybody want to come debate the issue that I brought up today? If God hates sin and you love sin, what makes you think that God loves you and it's going to allow you to get to paradise. Simple question. Anybody want to answer? Last call. Last call. Alrighty, that concludes sermon part of the show. Let's get to our first news article. Now, this right here bothers me because it relates to me.
The other big story we're...
Pause that. This article relates to me. Well, how does this article relate to you? Because y'all know that I applied for the MTA Mobility Transit Service. It's a bus that comes by and picks you up. You give them $3 and show your card, and they load you onto the bus. So meaning, I could take the scooter downstairs and say I wanted to go down to Inner Harbor. I could have them take me down to the Inner Harbor. And we don't have to burn the battery up trying to get there. And I can ride the scooter around the Inner Harbor until it dies. Then I can take the little charger out or find a place to plug up to and call them and tell them to come pick me up. They'll come pick me up and drop me off in front of my building. And I break the scooter down and bring it back upstairs. That's what the mobility bus service does. It's just like getting on the MTA bus, because them buses can hold, I believe they can hold 6 or 7 people. If I'm correct, I believe they can hold 6 or 7 people. And then they have seats for your passengers. So you can bring somebody along with you. I think you can bring up to 2 people, maybe 3 with you. And they have regular seats up at the front of the bus. And then they got spots for the wheelchairs and the for wheelchairs, for scooters, for power chairs. This happened on one of the buses in my city today. Let's get it.
We're following tonight tragedy in Northeast Baltimore. An MTA bus driver shot and killed as he dropped off a passenger. And tonight, the search is on for whoever pulled the trigger. WJZ is live at 11 o'clock. Kelsey Kushner with what happened here and what we know right now about potential suspects. Kelsey.
Rick, police are calling this a cowardly act of violence. Some neighbors that I spoke with off camera say they are shocked it happened in their neighborhood. Shattered glass and evidence markers surround the MTA bus, where police say a 49-year-old mobility driver was gunned down in the parking lot. Neighbors tell WJZ off camera the scene was chaos.
I was on my way walking down. I saw police cars coming down.
It happened just after 5:30 Friday at Moravia Apartments. Detectives say the driver was dropping off a passenger when a car pulled up next to him. That's when the suspect got out of the car and opened fire. Police say the bus driver was taken to the hospital, where he later died.
There were no other persons on the bus, but apparently the driver was absolutely targeted.
Detectives say the suspect or suspects took off in a tan or beige-colored Ford Crown Victoria or Lincoln Grand Marquis. Mayor Brandon Scott called the violent act unacceptable.
A hero, a driver of MTO Mobility, was cowardly gunned down while doing his duty to help those who are most in need of being able to get around.
In a statement to WJZ, the MTA says, in part, we are deeply saddened by another tragic loss this evening as one of our first transit mobility service operators was killed on the job. They go on to say the violence against transit operators needs to stop.
This was a very heinous, cowardly act of violence. We need the community's help to help us hold this person accountable.
Now, Governor Larry Hogan sent out a tweet tonight saying that this is now the second time in just a matter of months that an MTA bus driver was shot and killed while working. He, too, is calling the violence senseless. Reporting live tonight, Kelsey Kushner for WJZ.
Now, y'all know why I'm so hesitant about using the MTA. We see what's happening on the MTA buses? How many videos we show bus drivers getting beat up? Now you see you can't go on the subway. We have a subway too. And people are getting attacked as they get off the subway. People are being thrown down in front of trains while they're coming in. And now, even the mobility buses were supposed to be only people that's disabled. So not everybody, unless you are, a friend or, a helper who helping somebody in the wheelchair, are allowed to come on. Even then, they still getting the violence. It's like you can't escape it. A disabled person can't even get on a private bus. Now, luckily, nobody else was on the bus. Because you could have had disabled people killed for no reason. Anybody want to explain? It's something wrong. It's literally something wrong with our society today. But hey, as long as I can smoke my weed and get my drink, and as long as I can go to the strip club, I don't care.
State of emergency takes effect in New Jersey in less than half an hour now. Snow started falling late this afternoon, making the roads slick in some places. Governor Murphy says the state is prepared to deploy resources through Tuesday morning. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner joins us live now from Woodbridge with more. Lisa.
Yeah, Jessica, we are here on Route 9, and I want to give you a look at the situation. You can take a look at the highway here. It looks like crews did a pretty good job at salting the roads. You can see cars are moving fairly quickly for this kind of situation. But if you pan over to the gas station here right off Route 9, we did see one plow truck already come through, but you can see just how much snow is already covering this entire parking lot. I want to give you a look at what we've seen around the state. Here it is accumulating in Red Bank, New Jersey. We saw the snow falling pretty fast. And as we were heading south on the New Jersey Turnpike, we saw the flurries starting around 4 p.m. The state has a commercial vehicle restriction in effect on all interstate highways in coordination with neighboring states. And the Department of Transportation and the Turnpike Authority has deployed all of its plows and spreaders, around 4,000. New Jersey Transit for Monday has temporarily suspended all service except for one line in South Jersey, that is the Atlantic City Rail line. And with the state of emergency, Governor Murphy has closed all state offices Monday and all 6 vaccine mega sites. We spoke with people early this evening running into the supermarket in Ridgewood to grab some last-minute items.
We're just buying stuff, just since we're going to be snowed in tomorrow, so why not prepare?
The side roads are kind of horrible, but the main roads are pretty good. It's probably going to get worse. It's probably going to be worse.
And you can see the consistency of the snow here. It's pretty soft, but as you can see, it's coming down pretty fast. The state is asking all residents to please stay off the roads so that their plows can cover as much ground as possible. We're live in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
Now that's New Jersey. New Jersey is 2.5, 3 hours away from me. So that's why I didn't go to the market today. And I'm not happy about it, but you can't predict the weather. Oh, I was just talking about this. Well, la-di-da.
Otter Hill, where things started. Terrell.
Yes, so many businesses in this shopping plaza here in the 5300 block of North University Drive. One of the bullets hit this front window of a shipping store that just happens to be 2 doors down from a preschool. As we know right now, detectives are still trying to figure out what sparked it all. A bullet hole through the front side of this silver parked car. More shell casings scattered throughout the parking lot. It's a scene detectives spent hours processing on Sunday, all tied to a shooting outside of the biggest cabaret, a strip club in Lauderhill, where at least one woman was injured. Investigators tell Local 10 someone in this yellow Dodge Challenger drove that woman to a nearby hospital. But this is where things took yet another turn. As an officer approached that car, a man jumped out and ran, prompting police to give chase. That man then hopped into the passenger side of a different vehicle, and that car, cops say, veered towards an officer, prompting a BSO deputy to open fire. This is what led to this second shooting scene outside of the Florida Medical Center. More evidence markers and clues for investigators could be seen, but it's unclear if any of the police-fired bullets actually hit anyone or anything. However, the man who initially ran away from officers was ultimately taken into custody, but the driver, who apparently tried to hit the officer with his car, is still on the run. A wild chain of events that stretches from the strip club to the hospital, which kept detectives busy for most of the day. So this shipping store was closed at the time. No one inside injured, of course, but the investigation does continue. The identities of the people involved have not yet been released, but we know that investigators are still searching for a orange or red newer model Chevy Camaro. It will have the license plate will begin with the letter C. That is the vehicle that drove away after apparently trying to hit that officer. Contact Lauderhill Police. They are in charge of the portion here that happened at the strip mall. The Broward Sheriff's Office is investigating the police-involved shooting that happened outside of the hospital. Or you can also call Broward County Crime Stoppers. That number 954-493-TIPS. Reporting live from Lauderhill, I'm Terrell Fournette, Local 10 News.
All right, y'all. I wish y'all did y'all notice? Did y'all notice? This is what I mean when I say people are in their own world. There was a shooting here, and actually one of the bullets actually went into that business, right? The business was closed, fortunately, so the bullets didn't kill anybody. But did y'all see the two people standing at the door? There's a news camera there, a news crew, right? There's police tape there. The windows are shot up. And there was still two people standing there waiting for the business to open. The one man realized and he left. The woman that was carrying the box, she's still standing there waiting for the business to open. Now, if there was somebody there, they would have came out there and they would have swept the glass. And they would have put some plastic or something over the window and would have reopened. But you got people so simple that they still standing there like, they gonna open? Like, I gotta get my stuff shipped. They just standing there. People are oblivious to what's going on around them. That's just crazy. I would have saw the window got shot out. I'm going someplace else. Not these people. Not these people. I just said.
Back now on Eyewitness News this morning, and new this morning, Philadelphia police are investigating a deadly shooting in Feltonville. Investigators were called to a home on the 4900 block of Rohrer Street around 3 this morning. As there, they found a 20-year-old man shot in the head. He was pronounced dead just about 30 minutes later. And
what the heck? Go ahead and let that play.
Following two big stories tonight, more winter weather rolling in this afternoon, and a Metrolink security guard is shot and killed at the Del Mar Luton Metrolink station this morning.
We began with the shooting of that guard. Fox News' Ty Hawkins reports it all started after the officer got a report of a person causing a disturbance. He went to confront that person who shot him in the face.
Yeah, that's sad. Sad situation.
A security guard at a Metrolink station was shot and killed today, leaving those who use public transit cautious.
Usually I get to walk around these streets anytime and nothing really happens, but something like this you can't be prepared for. So.
Homicide detectives were called to a shooting near the Del Mar Loop Metrolink station in the 700 block of Hodemont around 10 Sunday morning. St. Louis police say a Metrolink security guard was shot in the face. The shooting disrupted Metrolink service between the Wellston and Forest Park to Bolivar Metrolink stations. People using public transit regularly we spoke with weren't worried about the delays. They're concerned about their safety and the security guards at the station.
It kind of worries me a little bit about my safety and plus theirs too, because I feel like they don't have enough protection on them to protect themselves.
That makes me a little concerned since I travel it every day. I don't know if they have any safety precautions ready or not for that situation.
Police say the identity of the security guard will be released when the family has been notified. What led to the shooting is not clear right now, and they have not released a description of the suspect.
Taking somebody's life for no reason, they're just doing their job. You know, I try not to cry thinking about it.
This is an ongoing investigation, and as we continue to learn more, we'll keep you updated on air and online. You can also find more information on this story on our website at fox2now.com. In St. Louis, Ty Hawkins, Fox 2 News.
That's the reason why I don't want to go public transportation. Another reminder, it's dangerous.
Caught on camera now, a terrifying gas station holdup in the Bronx. Take a look. You can see the masked suspect implies having a gun. He then knocks over a wine rack and struggles with the worker before finally making his way behind the counter. Police say he took off with $1,000 cash. It happened at Broadway and West 260th Street in the North Riverdale section of the Bronx.
That's daggone shame. That man said, I want the DOESN'S. And see, that man should have had some wasp spray. And that mask would have held on to it, and it would have really messed up. All right, y'all, we have an update on a story that we did a couple days ago. And it's actually, I used it as in the sermon earlier today. And when I said about correcting, adults that's putting their hands on children. Well, guess what? Take a look.
Update on a troubling incident caught on camera at a Bronx subway station. Police have arrested 35-year-old Joshua Gilead after he allegedly hit one of his kids and then shook the other by his head. The children are just 7 and 9 years old. Gilead was arrested Friday night. Police say it is his second arrest for domestic violence this month.
His second arrest for domestic violence this month. Well, y'all, the police got him. Thank God for them kids. Maybe they'll keep them off the street for a while. All right, y'all. Those of y'all that's buying cars, you better be on alert.
Alan, for several months, the I-Team has been investigating the story of consumers who say they lost $24,000 after buying a vehicle at an area dealership. They found out that the car they bought was stolen. Authorities say that they and the dealership are victims of a title washing ring.
I was actually stopped by the Chicago Police Department, and they said that the car was stolen.
Richard Wright and his fiancée, Michelle Moody, say they were detained for almost 8 hours by Chicago police because the Chevy Malibu, which they had recently purchased, was a stolen car.
So you were being treated like a criminal?
Yeah.
How'd that make you feel?
Not good at all.
I just bought the car. I just bought it. It hadn't even been a month, and now it's taken. It's gone. $24,000 down the drain.
That's right. When you add in the taxes, fees, prepaid insurance, and extended warranty they purchased, they say it's nearly $24,000. They bought it at a licensed dealership.
It gets a little emotional sometimes because it's a hurtful feeling.
The I-Team wanted to get answers for this young engaged couple who rely on the car for work.
There should be better protocols or something.
We started contacting the Secretary of State's office in April. It said it was investigating the matter and in contact with the dealership. Then in July, the Deputy Director of the SOS Department of Police sat down with me.
How can a consumer go into a dealership regulated by the state of Illinois and buy a stolen car?
The computers, sometimes it doesn't catch it. A title won't issue with the Secretary of State's office if the vehicle is stolen. Our system will not allow that to happen. In this particular case, it was reported stolen late after the vehicle was being offered for sale at the location in Frankfurt.
Garza says that Chevy Malibu was initially purchased in 2016 by fraudsters who used fake IDs to get a line of credit to buy the car. Then they stopped paying. The bank put a lien on the vehicle and reported it stolen, but those scam artists made this, a fake release of lien document, which washed the title and allowed them to sell the car back to another dealership.
So now they can do whatever they need to do with the vehicle to dispose of it and make a profit.
Garza says eventually the Malibu ended up at Unique Automotive in Frankfurt, which was under different ownership when the couple bought the car. Says Unique Automotive did nothing wrong and is the victim too. But as an act of good faith, it agreed to this partial refund offer of $15,000.
They've turned it over to their insurance company, and it looks like their insurance company is going to refund them their loss.
I did receive my refund for my vehicle. It was a partial payment from the dealership. I'm very fortunate for the I-Team and their help and other resources.
But the couple says they're still out almost $9,000, and Garza says this case is prompting a larger investigation into the people who washed that Malibu title.
And now you're looking into a title washing ring.
Correct.
And they've done this multiple times.
Yes, they have.
The SOS says consumers can avoid buying a stolen car from a dealership by going to the National Insurance Crime Bureau database and researching the car to see if it is listed as being stolen. Dealers are not required to check the site.
At the end of the day, consumers like me are the only people who end up losing.
The Secretary of State's office says that there are warrants out for the arrest of the two people who are suspected to be part of that title washing ring. The state says its computer systems do catch the vast majority of problems to prevent the sale of stolen vehicles at dealerships. But obviously, as you just saw, it does happen. So we put some tips and links on our website so you do not buy a stolen car at a dealership, if you can believe it.
Hey, if you like...
That's what I'm saying. You can't even buy a car at a dealership anymore. Boy, I tell you. Evil is just out of control. Alrighty, y'all. I don't know. I'm going to say that. Now, go ahead. I don't know how we missed this one, y'all.
I
don't know how we missed this one. But,
it's a karate black belt trooper. See, I'm gonna say the trail right here. See, look, I got my police trooper badge. Y'all see it? So I'm gonna do a little karate.
We know what he did with his stimulus.
So I'm doing a little karate, y'all. Y'all see it? So I got my trooper police badge, my karate black belt trooper police badge. So I'm doing this, y'all see it? Well, like this. So I'm gonna do the other one.
Don't break the TV.
I mean, I'm gonna set it up. Oops. I just hit the chair, y'all. Y'all heard that sound? Booyah.
Don't hit the TV. Yeah.
I already gotta lose this guy. I'm gonna sit right there. So all like this, y'all. See, I am the karate black belt trooper. My new word. My new word. So all like this. See, look at my badge. See, I can arrest anybody I want to. You know what I mean? If you're a bad suspect, if you're bad, I'm arresting you. If you're a good suspect, I'm leaving you alone. I ain't gonna leave you alone. I do it with my other finger. I'll leave you alone if you're a good person. If you're a bad person, I'm not leaving you alone. See, don't ever put it that close to your face. You put it that close to your face, you'll hurt yourself. Does that hit you in your right? Does that hit you right? Hit you right in your face? See? I know it's witty outside. It's witty as hell outside. Witty as hell.
Okay.
See, I am the karate black belt trooper.
All righty. Okay. That was for you, Nia and Liz. Oh, Lord. Yeah, all right. Let's get back to some serious business here.
Police in Rochester released body cam video showing officers pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl. And we do want to warn you, some may find this video disturbing. Police tell us one of the girl's parents told officers that she ran away from home and was going to harm herself or someone else. Police say she was agitated when she saw her parent and started kicking the officers. That's when they took her to the ground, eventually handcuffing her inside the patrol car. When the girl refused to listen to commands, police say they used an irritant on her. It all happened Friday. The girl has since been released to her family. Police are now investigating this incident.
On YouTube, you can't mention underage people, so I won't comment on that. Let's keep moving.
Terrifying armed robbery caught on camera in Miami Beach. Watch as 3 women walk along 15th Street. This is a block from Washington Avenue. Then you'll see there, the man gets out of a white car and points a gun at them. The victim starts taking off, just running, and one of them falls. Well, the suspect is then seen taking the victim's purse as well as the victim's cell phone before chasing after the other woman. He finally gives up and drives away. Well, police say Tajani Shepard then pointed a gun at another man 15 minutes later. This is in the area of Collins Avenue and 41st Street. That victim told officers what happened and pointed out the suspect's car. Shepard is now charged with armed robbery with a deadly weapon. He's being held without bond.
Wait a minute, Baltimore police, wait a minute, let's go.
Tonight, the dispute at a grocery store leads to an employee being shot. Police say a disgruntled employee showed up upset over his paycheck.
Yeah, it happened in Northeast Baltimore along the Alameda. WJZ is live. Stetson Miller with what we know so far. Hey, Stetson.
Hey, Kelsey and Max. Yeah, police say that employee who was shot in the arm is in the hospital now. They say the suspect worked at this grocery store behind me and then fled from the scene after exchanging gunfire with police. Scary moments at a grocery store in Northeast Baltimore this afternoon after police say a store security guard shot at officers. Baltimore police say that it happened after they were called to the Compare Food supermarket on the Alameda near Walters Avenue around 12:38 p.m. They said the security guard was upset at his employer and was armed.
This resulted from the security guard being in a dispute about his paycheck, whether or not his paycheck was correct or not, and was enraged that his pay was incorrect.
Police say the security guard fired at officers twice, first when they went inside the store and after they split up. Officers say the guard continued to fire shots. Police shot back at the guard both times, but they don't know if the guard was struck. The someone else inside the store did get hurt.
There was one civilian employee of the store that was injured. It is unknown how the injury occurred.
The employee has non-life-threatening injuries, and none of the officers were hurt. Police say the suspect fled the store, and they're now pursuing him. Mayor Brennan Scott says they will find him, and say this is yet another example of someone resorting to violence to resolve a dispute.
Because we know that we cannot allow people to recklessly be resolving their conflicts with weapons in our city. We say it time and time again. We will not allow these folks to be comfortable.
And police say they do know who this suspect is, and they say it's a matter of time before they find him. We're live in Northeast Baltimore. Seth Miller for WJZ.
That's damn shame. One of my ex-girlfriends shop at that market. I went with her a couple times. Well, I hope she wasn't there. I hope she wasn't on. But they said employee. I helped her get through school, so I know she ain't working at no daggone what you know. And we'll leave it at that. Let's get on to the next story. Okay, I got thrown off for a second because that story was
Tonight, a former La Mesa police officer finds himself on the other side of the law following the wrongful arrest of a black man that sparked protests in La Mesa. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. 30-year-old Matthew Dages faces one felony count of falsifying a police report for detaining Amari Johnson near the Grossmont trolley station back in May. That confrontation was captured on this video, and coming on the heels of George Floyd's death, sparked days of demonstrations. All charges against Johnson were later dropped.
Newsday's Richard Allen has more on Johnson's reaction to the charge, as well as the consequences Dages could face if convicted. Richard?
Well, that's right. Former officer Matthew Dages now faces up to 3 years in state prison. Now, upon learning news of this charge today, Amari Johnson's attorney told News 8 his client's initial reaction was, finally.
Hey, what'd I tell you? I told you I was waiting for somebody to come here. They right here, though.
Hey, bro, you can't do that. I think that it's relief in seeing that something is actually being done and that this is not a situation that's just being swept under the rug.
More than 7 months after the controversial arrest of Amari Johnson near the Grossmont trolley station, the former La Mesa police officer who instigated it, Matthew Dages, has now been formally charged with filing a false report. Attorney Troy Owens represents Johnson.
This does show some sincerity on the part of the DA's office as far as mending relationships with the community and trying to make things right.
The arrest of 23-year-old Johnson, an African-American man, by a white officer, captured on cell phone video and widely circulated on social media just 2 days after the death of George Floyd while in police custody in Minneapolis, sparked public outrage and led to large-scale demonstrations in La Mesa and throughout San Diego.
They right here, though.
Hey, bro, you can't do that.
Police had said that Officer Dages originally approached Johnson on May 27th for smoking in public, then subsequently arrested him on suspicion of assaulting an officer, which the video did not support, instead showing Dages repeatedly shoving Johnson down. Johnson was then released on a misdemeanor, and police later dropped all charges. Johnson has since filed a civil lawsuit against Dages and the La Mesa Police Department.
We do believe that based upon the evidence that we've seen so far, there are numerous other violations of law that can be charged.
In a statement, District Attorney Summer Steffens said, when someone in a position of trust, such as a police officer, commits a crime, it causes tremendous harm and shakes the community's confidence in those who are sworn to protect them. And Matthew Dages was fired from the La Mesa Police Department back in August. He's due in court on March 9th for his arraignment.
Well, what the heck? We having good luck with
In an hour, the city of Keller is holding a special closed-door meeting to address a lawsuit claiming Keller police officers used excessive force against a man recording his son's arrest. The lawsuit and video of the arrest have been receiving some national attention. Fox 4's Lori Brown is live tonight with the details. Lori.
Steve, the incident happened in August and the lawsuit was filed 2 weeks ago. That prompted the city to release the dash and body cam video, and tonight the Keller City Council will get a full briefing on exactly how the incident and response unfolded.
Open it now. Step out. Right here.
Body and dash cam video released by the city of Keller show the August 15th traffic stop that escalated into a father and son being arrested.
Why are you acting so suspicious?
Sergeant Blake Shimanek said he pulled over Dylan Puente for making a wide right turn.
But I'm walking up on scene for a routine traffic stop. Ain't nothing going on. You roll your window up. What does that look like to me?
I mean, I'm just rolling it up because for my safety.
During the stop, Dylan Puente's father pulled up.
Take off.
That's my dad.
Oh, sir. Yeah.
I rolled up my window.
320, give me unit code now.
You know, I knew it wasn't right, so that's when I immediately took out my video camera and started recording.
While Marco Puente was recording his son's arrest from the sidewalk, Sergeant Shimanek told another officer who arrived on scene, Officer Ankit Tomer, to arrest him.
Arrest him. For blocking the roadway.
Blocking the roadway?
Yep.
What the heck, man? Stop!
Puente's attorneys say he was not resisting arrest, yet Officer Tomer pepper sprayed him in the eyes twice.
That was totally unnecessary. And my eyes are on fire.
Yes, sir. We'll get you medics in just a second to treat.
After the father and son were under arrest, Sergeant Shimanek explained to Officer Tomer what happened before he got there.
Cruising with this window down the whole time. I walk up, he rolls the window up. So I said, whoa, what are we doing this for? He's acting extremely nervous.
Within hours of the incident, Keller PD's command staff reviewed the case. The charge of interference against Marco Puente was dropped, and Keller's mayor says the Puentes were later reimbursed the fine from the traffic violation. Puente says he filed the lawsuit because he does not want other citizens being treated like he and his son were.
Some people are saying that maybe they need some de-escalating training. There was nothing to de-escalate. He escalated everything.
Sergeant Shimanek was demoted after an internal review. Officer Tomer was not disciplined. Puente's attorneys, Scott Palmer and James Roberts, say there were multiple mistakes made.
The false arrest, the excessive force by using the pepper spray on him twice is egregious. But then when you look at their actions after the fact, when they delayed getting him medical care.
They used the power of the badge and they assaulted a citizen that's standing there.
Keller's mayor told us in a statement that he did not want to make any comments until the city council had been briefed privately and citizens have an opportunity to make comments next Tuesday. Palmer says the question for the city is simple.
When you misuse a huge responsibility that is imparted to an officer the way he did in this case, does he deserve to have a badge and a gun anymore?
The Keller police chief also declined to comment, citing the pending lawsuit. After the city council is briefed on the issue tonight, the public will have the opportunity to weigh in a week from today.
All right, we got another video coming up here.
He lives here.
Where's the ball?
We both live here.
These tense moments played out at the Somer Residence's parking garage Tuesday night, when resident Michael Barajas, a Berkeley grad and community educator for a biopharmaceutical company, pulled into the garage.
I pressed the remote from down there. The garage opened.
And was blocked from entering the building by a man and woman in this white SUV with Florida plates.
And his immediate reaction was to say, "Hey, you criminal, you're not coming in here."
The man, William Beasley, is heard asking Michael where his key fob is. Despite Michael saying he has one, the man escalates the situation to the point where bystanders can be heard jumping in to help.
Hey, dude, pull into your space or go! He actually threatened to shoot us.
Eventually, one of those bystanders who smacks the man's car, yelling for him to move, is seen getting knocked to the ground.
I don't touch my car, bro! I'm protecting our... It's my place too, it's his place too.
Somer Residences sent me this statement, saying they are actively working to resolve the issue and condemn violent acts, aggression toward any residents, discrimination, and harassment. While they couldn't comment on the incident, citing tenant rights and privacy, my photographer noticed the couple who appeared to be loading up a car with belongings and asked for their side of the story.
I talked to them and I asked them nicely.
Well, he lives here.
You didn't know that. He pressed Beasley on accusations on social media of racial profiling.
For those out there that are saying, hey, maybe you're racist, what would you say? Is that not true?
You have no idea what completely not true. And why are you attacking me?
I'm with ABC News.
As for Michael, who is satisfied with the building's response to the incident, says he is grateful for those who tried to intervene and is proud of how far he's come.
I've always been really poor, low-income family, immigrant parents, so I think it just struck very hard for me, and it felt like
I did not belong here.
And is empowered by the responsibility to speak out for minorities who may not feel like they have a voice.
If had it been someone that was undocumented, someone that didn't know how to handle the situation, someone that had been violent in return, what would have happened?
All right. Like I said, we wasn't that wasn't playing the show, but it was, it popped up. All right. This is really a sad story here.
And investigators are still looking for the suspects in a violent robbery that happened here in the Bronx. Two men allegedly confronted a 27-year-old outside his home on Westchester Avenue and Mayflower Avenue last week. Investigators say they forced the man back inside at gunpoint, then threw a 75-year-old woman to the ground. Two other men rushed down from the second floor. They were also forced to the ground. The suspects then took off with $2,000 cash.
Oh, man. All right, let's keep it going here. I think we got one more.
Tonight, health experts say dangerous COVID variants could push the country to a powerful new surge in a matter of weeks.
We are going to see something like we have not seen yet in this country.
More infections, hospitalizations, and potentially more deaths because of highly transmissible strains. Now, in at least 33 states, the South African, Brazilian, and possibly more deadly UK strain, which is expected to dominate the country by March.
We get a number of first doses in people, particularly 65 years of age and older. We can really do a lot to reduce the number of serious illnesses and deaths.
But getting even one dose is proving to be the nation's biggest challenge. All 50 states reporting shortages.
Everything is affected by the supply problem.
Those supply issues now compounded by severe weather, canceling or delaying vaccine appointments across the Northeast.
Last thing we want to do is urge our seniors to come out in the middle of a storm like this.
Saturday, the nation's largest vaccine site at Dodger Stadium forced to close for an hour when anti-vaccine protesters blocked the entrance. Adam Michelson was there with his 81-year-old mother, but they weren't deterred.
It was really nerve-wracking. So you don't want this thing fine, but you're going to prevent other people from getting it also. That's asinine.
As much of the nation still waits for their turn to get the shot, long lines and confusion are fueling anxiety and frustration.
You can't get a shot nowhere else. It's a line, or they don't answer the phone, so it's very stressful to do that.
That was the case for many of these veterans in Houston, but the VA stepped up, allowing vets 75 and older to step in line.
Oh, it was okay. Just don't look at the needle.
And Megan joins us from Los Angeles. Megan, the CDC's mask mandate on public transportation goes into effect tomorrow night. And now we're learning the TSA has the authority to enforce that order.
Kate, that's right. The acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security is just signed an emergency document that allows for these TSA agents at the airport to make sure that passengers are wearing their masks. Kate?
That's good.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
That's actually good. That's good news. Even though I don't fly, still.
Breaking news now this morning out of Cyprus, where one person is dead, we're told, following a head-on crash.
We're told it happened as a security officer was chasing a possible robbery suspect. The crash happened on Greenhouse and Cyprus, North Houston. KPRC2's Taisha Walker is there now with what investigators are saying. Taisha, what can you tell us?
Sophia, good morning. Yeah, I just spoke with deputies a few minutes ago, and they helped me piece together what happened. So we want to point out two vehicles because they're about to clear the scene in a few minutes. If you pay attention to the gray pickup truck in the grass over there, we're told the suspect was in that vehicle. And over to the left on the other side of this black pickup truck is a white pickup truck, and we are told that the innocent driver was in that vehicle. Deputies say the driver in the silver truck, the suspect, may have been suspected of possibly trying to commit a burglary. Deputies say around 6:20 this morning, a security guard called the owner of a private storage company just a few miles down the road from where we are to alert them of the silver pickup. Deputies say the owner came to the location and followed the suspect in his pickup to try to get the license plate number when a chase started. Deputies say the suspect was heading the wrong way north on Greenhouse when he ran the red light and collided in a frontal T-bone fashion with the white pickup truck heading east on Cypress North Houston. The suspect was thrown from his truck and died here on the scene. As for the driver back here live of the white pickup truck, we are told that he is okay, that he refused to be taken to the hospital and was picked up by a relative. That's the latest information that we have here on the scene. I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio. Reporting live in the Cypress area, Taisha Walker, KPRC2.
Taisha, thank you for the latest there.
I played the wrong story. This is the story I wanted to play. Let's get it.
Turning to a very important story that you need to see. Colorado police under fire for taking a woman and 4 clearly unarmed children, the youngest just 6 years old, and holding them in custody, often at gunpoint, forcing them to lie cuffed face down, as you see here on the ground, scared and humiliated. This was in a salon parking lot for upwards of 2 hours.
There's kids. They had guns on kids.
Okay.
That is hard to watch, even for a few seconds. Imagine living through it. That went on, as I mentioned, for upwards of 2 hours. This is America. This happens all the time. Most of the time, I'll be honest with you, it's not even on the national news. Now tonight, what's new is the woman you saw there, her name is Brittany Gilliam, is now suing Aurora, Colorado. She alleges in court that entire spectacle was an invalid and illegal arrest. She alleges the police were breaking the law. She also notes in her new suit that it hurt and traumatized those innocent children. You heard their cries. She says they now struggle with basic activities like eating and sleeping, and they are in therapy for this. The police department, to be clear, is not even claiming they had an accurate reason for the arrest and conduct you see there by the officers. Instead, they do apologize, and they say they incorrectly thought that that vehicle was stolen. It wasn't. An explanation that many law enforcement experts say does not even justify the force and guns drawn that you saw. Now, here's what else is new tonight. You may have heard that elections have consequences. So do social movements sometimes. The protests over the May killing of George Floyd led Colorado to reform police rules in June, passing a new law that bans some aggressive tactics and also a type of automatic legal immunity for officers, which means they can, when warranted, be held personally responsible in court. This is one of the first cases based on that new law. And while everyone's entitled to their day in court, this is the first time citizens in that state have actually been entitled to take on police officers directly and personally for their own day in court. It's very important, and we have some special guests on the story. We are joined now by the attorney for Miss Gilliam and her family. His name is David Lane. We're also joined by Mark Claxton, who's a retired NYPD detective, director of political affairs for the Black Law Enforcement Alliance. Good evening to both of you. David, it's hard. I just want to start with the human part. It's hard to even watch a little bit of that. You're representing someone who lived through it. Walk us through first the reality, and then we can talk about the law.
Well, Brittany was seriously traumatized because her 4 closest relatives were screaming for her to help, and she was completely helpless. She was trying to show the police her registration and her license plate number matched the registration. The police wouldn't look at a piece of paper to determine that this is not a stolen car. These kids had been for weeks and months seeing on the news every night white police officers killing African Americans for no reason whatsoever. And these little kids get pulled out of a car at gunpoint. And how any cop believes there is any justification for pointing a gun at a 6-year-old child, it's beyond me. But these kids this is a life-changing event for these kids. And we are now taking this civil rights statute that the Colorado legislature passed in July. We're going into.
I'm only organizing it to say I want to get to that because I mentioned it.
Sure.
But it's very important, just in my role moderating, to make sure we're clear on what happened. So thank you for what the family's going through. Before we turn to the law, Mark, what we saw on tape there, what the available evidence shows, is this proper policing?
Not at all. And it's hard to reject the claim that the occupants of the car were traumatized and victimized. But, early on, even the police attempted to make the stop appear ordinary. I remember hearing their spokespersons indicate that they're trained to conduct a full-on felony stop for all suspected stolen vehicles. It's absolute nonsense. The reality is, all too often with Black people, it's important to put that in, the police confuse reasonable force options with a mandate to use force. Built into policing is a wide range of discretion. And if you doubt that, look at the extraordinary restraint that was shown by the police officers at the Capitol on the 6th. If ever it was reasonable to use an escalated amount of force, that was it. But with all the video that you've seen thus far, even police officers being actively assaulted or retreating, they didn't even unholster their weapons. So as far as a police perspective, this stop was absolutely, totally avoidable and unnecessary and obviously traumatizing. Traumatizing, just as you indicated, Ari, just to watch it and the vulnerability of these young ladies, especially on the heels of what occurred with that very police department with Elijah McClain.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our video.
All righty. Somebody getting in trouble. All right. Anybody have any comments on any of the stories that we saw? We got 8 people here and only Nia's commenting. Okay. Oh, we just lost somebody. All right, let's get to the CV numbers. It's 12:33 in the morning. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. Let's get to the CV numbers. We had 26,767,229 known cases of the coronavirus in the United States. We have 452,279 deaths. So let's get it. The new cases are better, but the deaths are worse. California knows how to party. in the city called Watts. Crime in the CV, that's all the people that got. I'm talking about California. They got 12,476 new cases a day. They lost 226 people. They got 1,705,000 people walking around infected right now. Texas, 12,470 new cases. They lost 179 people. They got almost 377,000 infected. Florida, 7,788 new cases. They lost 120 people today. They got almost 817,000 people infected. New York City, 10,000, or New York State. They got 10,532 new cases. They lost 162 people. They got 863,000 infected. Illinois, they got 2,428 new cases. They lost 40 people. They got 182,000 infected. Georgia, on my mind. I caught the midnight train to Georgia. Still sick from the CV that I picked up in California. They got 3,587 new cases, but they only lost 2. They got 500,000 people infected. Ohio. They got 3,011 new cases. They lost 54 people today. They got 104, almost 105,000 infected. Pennsylvania, they got 3,725 new cases. They lost 113 people today. They got 138,000 infected. Arizona, 5,025 new cases. They lost 22 people today. They got almost 642,000 infected. Ain't nothing finer than the mountain inclines of North Carolina. They got, you might as well say they got 5,000 infected. They lost 48 people. They got 112,500 people walking around infected. Tennessee, Tennessee, they got 3,119 new cases. They lost 76 people. They got almost 35,000 walking around infected. New Jersey, 4,286 new cases. They lost 29 people. They got 282,000 infected. Ooh-wee, we going to Indiana. Somebody better find my hookah. They got 1,723 new cases. They lost 7 people today. They got 211,000 infected. Michigan, what up, though? No stats. Wisconsin, they got 1,007 new cases. They only lost 3. They got 19,000 walking around infected. Massachusetts, they got 2,665 new cases. They lost 46 people. They got 72,000 walking around infected. Virginia, they got 2,558 new cases. They lost 15 people today. They got 458,000 infected. Missouri, no stats. Minnesota, 988 new cases today. They lost 13 people. They got 9,400 infected. Alabama, let me say that again. I said Alabama. They got 2,029 new cases. They lost 122 people. They got 210,000 infected almost. Ain't nothing finer than the beaches in South Carolina. They got 3,601 new cases. They lost 28 people today. They got almost 240,000 infected. Louisiana, 3,350 new cases. They lost 58 people today. They got 47,500 infected. Colorado, or should I say Colorado, they got 1,163 new cases. They lost 21 people today. They got 281,000 infected. Oklahoma, Oklahoma. They got 2,882 new cases today. They lost 43 people to the coronavirus. They got 29,500 people walking around infected. Oh, shucky ducky. It's time to go to Mitch McConnell's state of Kentucky. They got 1,766 new cases. They lost 31 people. They got almost 316,000 infected. Ain't nobody caroling in my state of Maryland. We got 1,747 new cases. We lost 20 people today. Thank God I ain't one of them. We got almost 338,000 infected. Quick draw McGraw, let's go to Utah. They got 1,194 new cases. They only lost 2. They got 38,500 infected. Iowa, 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 686 new cases. They lost 250 people. They got 32,000 infected. Washington State, 314 new cases, and they only lost 1. They got 156,000 infected. Arkansas, the fake Kansas, they picked up 881 new cases today. They lost 30. They got 17,000 infected. Nevada, 959 new cases today. They lost 6 people. They got 93,000 infected. Kansas, no stats. I guess Dorothy and Toto took the day off. Mississippi, you got M-I, cookie letter, I, cookie letter, I, humpback, I. Mississippi, 811 new cases. They lost 27 people. They got 46,000 infected. No stats for Connecticut. No stats for Nebraska. New Mexico. I said New Mexico. 525 new cases. They lost 18 people. They got 68,000 people walking around. Idaho, 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 Idaho. No stats. Oregon, no stats. West Virginia, 661 new cases. They lost 9 people. They got 21,000 infected. Time to roll that off for Rhode Island. I can do better than that. Rhode Island, no stats. South Dakota, 180 new cases. They only lost 3. They got 2,800 walking around infected. North Dakota, 68 new cases today, and they lost none. They got 981 people walking around infected. Somebody, let's go watch Tito Santana wrestle in the state of Montana. They got 187 new cases. They got a 187, and they only lost 1. They got 3,600 people walking around infected. Time to go to Delaware. I said Delaware. Delaware, 520 new cases today. They lost 9 people. No stats on the active cases. New Hampshire, 333 new cases. They lost 15 people. They got almost 5,000 infected. Alaska, they got 128 new cases, and they lost none. Wyoming, 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 208 new cases, and they lost none. They got 1,300 walking around infected. It's a pain to live in Maine. It's so mundane, everything looks the same. It's so boring that it will leave you snoring. Oh, it's a strain to live in Maine. Maine, 156,000 new cases, and they lost none. They got 26,000 walking around infected. The District of Columbia, they got 210,000 new cases. They only lost 4. They got 10,000 infected. Hawaii or Hawaii. Hawaii 5-0, 82 new cases. They only lost 3. They got 12,000 infected on that island. It's time to go to Nighthawk Country, Vermont. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Vermont, 134 new cases today. They only lost 1. They got 3,500 people infected in Vermont. It's time to roll that R again, because we got Puerto Rico. Let me try that again. I said Puerto Rico, 381 new cases. They lost 6 people. They got 81,500 infected. Let's go to the island of Guam. They picked up 1 case. And guess what? They lost none. They got 103 infected in Guam. Virgin Islands of the United States, 14 new cases. And they lost none. They got 91 people infected in the Virgin Islands. No stats for the Maria, no stats for the American Samoa, no stats for the U.S. military. Veteran Affairs, 250 new cases. They lost 19 people. They got 11,000 infected. No stats for the federal prisons. The Navajo Nation, the Navajo, on the reservation, they picked up 108 cases. They only lost 4. They got almost 13,000 infected on the reservations of the Navajo Nation. Our total, 26,767. 26 million. I keep saying 1,000. 26,766,229 total cases that we know so far. New cases today, 107,816. Total deaths, 452,279. People that died today on a Sunday, the slowest day of the week. We lost 1,886 Americans. How many Americans are walking around infected right now? 9,911,107 people that we know of are infected in the United States today. These numbers are probably the best numbers we're going to see until next Sunday, because it is a Sunday. So, alrighty. We got to the CV number, so I'm sure my neighbors are happy. Because it is late. It is late. Anybody have any comments? It's 12:48 in the morning here. Anyone have any comments on anything we talked about today? Any comments, anyone? Hello. Alrighty then. Let me go ahead and get out of here. As Neil would say, see you soon. As I say, I'll see you later on today. Y'all have a good one, and I will see y'all later on today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we are out. So let's end the stream.